So this is kind of an impromptu army building video. Well, maybe not army building, just a bit of a smattering of Black Falcon fig barfs. I was kind of bored the other day, had a bunch of Black Falcon parts sitting in front of me, and I had a bunch of ideas that I'd been thinking about, but hadn't actually tried yet. So I did, and I really like how they turned out, especially these two. These two are my favorites. Because Black Falcons are so easy to get, this is going to be one of my biggest armies when I get around to actually army building them. So I want to do my best to avoid having them look like clones. While this does take place in a fantasy setting, I want to add more historical context into the lore. Historically, you wouldn't really have standing armies. You'd have a couple knights, some men-at-arms, and during the times of war, you would go around and muster some levies. The Rohirrim in Lord of the Rings are probably the best example of this in fantasy. And you weren't being provided any weapons or armor for the most part. You had to buy and bring your own. So I want to do my best to represent that. The only other faction I've really army built are my Red Dragon Knights, and that was like over a year ago. And since then, I kind of can't get over how similar they all look. Even though in my lore, they are like a warring faction, like they do have a big standing army, I don't want them all looking the same. I'll go back and fix that at some point. My Black Falcons are one of the richer factions, so they can afford a large army. But because they're not led by a warmongering wizard, I don't know if that's actually my lore yet or not though, they're not going to be perfectly uniformed. They're going to be a bit mismatched. Also, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've just watched a few YouTube videos. So if I get anything wrong, let me know, or don't. It's a stupid Lego video. If you're wondering, I'm getting this information from the History Squad. His videos are great and really informative. Let's start with the archers. Your archers are going to be your least armored soldier. So I started with taking the pearl gray arms out, and then replacing the arms with blue or black. I would say to primarily do black, but a few blue looks really good, and we're going to save this for later. You can use the printed legs, but you don't have to. Again, these are your least armored troops. And then taking inspiration from some of the Camelot soldiers in Merlin, I just used brown legs. You can use black, but I don't think it gives the right feel to me. I suggest either reddish brown, brown, or dark brown. I think dark brown is the best for these though. Reddish brown I'd probably use with the Lion Knights. Archers are also a really great way to use the old torso, and then I also flipped one around, and then a helmet of your choice. This one is my favorite. It just always felt like an archer helmet to me, but you can always use hats and hoods. But the men-at-arms is where the fun begins. There's a big debate on what color helmet you should use with your Black Falcons. Should it be black? Should it be silver? Should it be pearl dark gray? I'm gonna use both black and silver. I'd love to also use pearl dark gray, but because it's rarer, I want to use it for other factions that really need to be pearl dark gray. I think both black and silver look really good. I was able to come up with quite a variety of soldiers. For this fig here, I gave her a yellow Black Falcon shield, and to kind of spice things up, on the plume I put a yellow hand, and there's actually a total of 4 Black Falcon shields, so I should be able to get some decent variety in shields. I also might throw in some round ones or brick built ones. This guy right here is probably my favorite of the bunch. I used this old breastplate torso, put some pearl dark gray arms on him, and this black vented helmet. I love it so much. Lego just needs to make this helmet in black again. The mold is still in use, just make it in black. Okay, now remember these pieces that we saved? You're gonna take your blue torso and your pearl dark gray arms, click, click, and if it's a one-sided print, you're gonna wanna put it backward, because the back of this breastplate will cover it all up, and there won't be any orange peeking through. But if it's double-sided, pick the one that works the best. Like this one, it's just like a little gold belt buckle. And you should be doing this to all your figures that have breastplates. Don't be wasting good medieval torsos under a breastplate. And then I gave him this mace, and it's just a little gear piece on a stick. It works great. And then there's this guy. There's nothing special about this guy, but I gave him this sword and not a shield. This is a big sword. Let's be real, you're not gonna be wanting to hold a heavy shield while trying to swing this big sword. You're gonna have much better luck swinging this sword with 2 hands. I just kinda wish you could actually have 2 hands on this sword. Last but not least, the horse guy. He's actually just a vintage figure with armor on. But why does he have a white and green flag, you might ask? Some of the old Black Falcon sets had white and green flags. I don't get it. This is just the beginning of my Black Falcon army, and doing this has got me pumped for army building. It also has me thinking more about lore for each faction. But that's it for this one. Hopefully I'll catch y'all soon. And it's been a while since I put Battle Cow in a video, so here you go.